Beyond the Hills of Dream by Wilfred Campbell. LibriVox.org. Beyond the Hills of Dream. Over the mountains of sleep, my love, over the hills of dream, beyond the walls of care and fate, where the loves and memories teem, we come to a world of fancy free, where hearts forget to weep. Over the mountains of dream, my love, over the hills of sleep. Over the hills of care, my love, over the mountains of dread, we come to a valley glad and vast, where we meet the long lost dead. And there the gods in splendor dwell, in a land where all is fair. Over the mountains of dread, my love, over the hills of care. Over the mountains of dream, my love, over the hills of sleep, could we but come to that heart's desire, where the harvest of fancy reap, then we would know the old joys and hopes, the longings of youth's bright gleam. Over the mountains of sleep, my love, over the hills of dream. Yea, there the sweet old years have rest, and there my heart would be, amid the glad ones loved of yore, at the sign of the fancy free. And there the old lips would repeat earth's memories o'er and o'er. Over the mountains of might have been, over the hills of yore. Unto that valley of dreams, my love, if we could only go, beyond the mountains of heart's despair, the hills of winter and snow, then we would come to those happy isles, those shores of blossom and wing. Over the mountains of waiting, my love, over the hills of spring. And there where the woods are scarlet and gold, and the apples are red on the tree, the heart of autumn is never old, in that country where we would be. And how would we come to that land, my love? Follow the midnight stars, that swim and gleam in a milk-white stream, over the night's white bars. Or follow the trail of the sunset red, that beacons the dying deeps of day's wild borders down the edge of silence where evening sleeps. Or take the road that the morning wakes, when he whitens his first rose beam. Over the mountains of glory, my love, over the hills of dream. Sometime, we will go, my love, when winter loosens to spring, and all the spirits of joy are ajog after the wild bird's wing. When winter and sorrow have opened their doors to set love's prisoners free. Over the mountains of woe, my love, over the hills of dree. And when we reach there we will know the faces we knew of yore, the lips that kissed, the hands that clasped, when memory loosens her store. And we will drink to the long dead years in that inn of the golden gleam. Over the mountains of sleep, my love, over the hills of dream. And all the joys we missed, my love, and all the hopes we knew, the dreams of life we dreamed in vain, when youth's red blossoms blew. And all the hearts that throbbed for us, in the past so sunny and fair, we will meet and greet in that golden land, over the hills of care. Over the mountains of sleep, my love, over the hills of dream, beyond the walls of care and fate, where the loves and memories teem, we come to a land of fancy free, where hearts forget to weep. Over the mountains of dream, my love, over the hills of sleep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Morning by W. Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org. Read by B. G. Gruff. When I behold out of ruined night, filled with all weirds of haunted ancientness, and dreams of fantasies of pale distress, is built, beam by beam, the splendid light, the opalescent glory, gems belight, of dew emblazoned morning, when I know such wondrous hopes, such luminous beauties grow from out earth's shades of sadness affright. O then, my heart, aim thy questioning fear. Dost thou not whisper, he who built us thus, from wrecks of darkness such wonders at his will, can recreate out of death's night for us the marvel of morning gladder still, than ever trembling into beauty here. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Out of Pompeii by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Elizabeth Parsons. She lay face downward on her bended arm, in this her new sweet dream of human bliss, her heart within her fearful, fluttering warm, her lips yet pained with love's first timorous kiss. She did not note the darkening afternoon, she did not mark the lowering of the sky, or that great city earth had given its boon. Unto her lips love touched her, and passed by. In one dread moment all the sky grew dark, the hideous rain, the panic, the red rout, where love lost love, and all the world might mark, the city overwhelmed, blotted out. Without one cry so quick oblivion came, and life passed to the black where all forget, but she, we know not of her house or name, in love's sweet musings doth lie dreaming yet. The dread hell passed, the ruined world grew still, and the great city passed to nothingness. The ages went, and mankind worked its will. Then men stood still amid the centuries' press, and in the ash-hid ruins opened bare, as she lay down in her shamed loveliness, sculptured and frozen, late they found her there, image of love, mid all that hideousness. Her head face downward on her bended arm, her single robe that showed her shapely form, her wondrous fate love keeps divinely warm, over the centuries past the slaying storm. The heart can read in writings time hath left, that linger still through death's oblivion, and in this waste of life and light bereft, she brings again a beauty that had gone. And if there be a day when all shall wake, as dreams the hoping, doubting human heart, the dim forgetfulness of death will break, for her as one who sleeps with lips apart. And did God call her suddenly, I know, she'd wake as morning wakened by the thrush, feel that red kiss across the centuries glow, and make all heaven rosier by her blush. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Morning on the Shore by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Tavares. The lake is blue with morning, and the sky sweet clear and burnished as an orient pearl. High in its vastness scream and skim and whirl wild gull flocks, where the gleaming beaches die into dim distance, where great marshes lie. Far in ashore the woods are warm with dreams, the dew-wet road in ruddy sunlight gleams, the sweet cool earth, the clear blue heaven on high. Across the morn a carolling schoolboy goes, filling the world with youth to heaven's stair. Some chattering squirrel answers from his tree, but down beyond the headland, where ice floes are great in winter, pleading in mute prayer, a dead drowned face stares up immutably. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Bereavement of the Fields by Wilfred Campbell. LibriVox.org by Nemo. Bereavement of the Fields. In memory of Archibald Lampman, who died February 10, 1899. Soft fall the February snows, and soft falls on my heart the snow of wintry pain. For nevermore, by wood or field or croft, will he we knew walk with his loved again. No more, with eyes a-dream and soul aloft, in those high moods where love and beauty reign, greet his familiar fields, his skies without a stain. Soft fall the February snows, and deep, like downy pinions from the molting breast of all the mothering sky, round his hushed sleep, flutter a million loves upon his rest, where once his well-loved flowers were fain to peep, with adder tongue and waxen petals pressed, in young spring evenings reddening down the west. Soft fall the February snows, and hushed seems life's loud action, all its strife removed, afar, remote, where grief itself seems crushed, and even hope and sorrow are reproved, for he whose cheek erstwhile with hope was flushed, and by the gentle haunts of being moved, hath gone the way of all he dreamed and loved. Soft fall the February snows, and lost, this tender spirit gone with scarce a tear, ere, loosened from the dungeons of the frost, wakens with yearnings new the enfranchised year. Late winter wizened, gloomed, and tempest tossed, and Hesper's gentle, delicate veils appear, when dream anew the days of hope and fear. And Mother Nature, she whose heart is fain, yea, she who grieves not, neither faints nor fails, building the seasons she will bring again, March, with rudening madness of wild gales, April, and her wraiths of tender rain, and all he loved, this soul whom memory veils, beyond the burden of our strife and pain. Not his to wake the strident note of song, nor pierce the deep recesses of the heart, those tragic wells remote of might and wrong, but rather, with those gentler souls apart, he dreamed like his own summer days along, filled with the beauty born of his own heart, sufficient in the sweetness of his song. Outside this prison house of all our tears, enfranchised from our sorrow and our wrong, beyond the failure of our days and years, beyond the burden of our saddest song, he moves with those whose music filled his ears, and claimed his gentle spirit from the throng. Wordsworth, Arnold, Keats, thy masters of his song, like some rare Pan of those old Grecian days, here in our hours of deeper stress reborn, unfortunate thrown upon life's evil ways, his inward ear heard ever that satyr horn from nature's lips reverberate night and morn, and fled from men in all their troubled maze, standing apart with sad and curious gaze. And now, untimely cut like some sweet flower plucked in the early summer of its prime. Before it reach the fullness of its dower, he withers in the morning of our time, leaving behind him, like a summer shower, a fragrance of earth's beauty, and the chime of gentle and imperishable rhyme. Songs in our ears of winds and flowers and buds, and gentle loves and tender memories of nature's sweetest aspects, her pure moods, wrought from the inward truth of intimate eyes and delicate ears of him who harks and broods, and, nightly pondering, daily grows more wise, and dreams and sees in mighty solitudes. Soft fall the February snows, and soft he sleeps in peace upon the breast of her he loved the truest, where, by wood and croft, the wintry silence folds in fleecy blur about his silence, while in glooms aloft the mighty forest fathers without stir guard well the rest of him, their rare sweet worshipper. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Wood Lyric by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. A Wood Lyric. Into the stilly woods I go, where the shades are deep, and the wind flowers blow, and the hours are dreamy, and lone, and long, and the power of silence is greater than song. Into the stilly woods I go, where the leaves are cool, and the windflowers blow. When I go into the stilly woods, and know all the flowers in their sweet shy hoods, the tender leaves in their shimmer and sheen of darkling shadow, diaphanous green, in those haunted halls where my footstep falls, like one who enters cathedral walls, a spirit of beauty floods over me, is over a swimmer the waves of the sea, that strengthens and glories, refreshes and fills, till all mine inner heart wakens and thrills with a new and a glad and a sweet delight, and a sense of the infinite out of sight, of the great unknown that we may not know, but only feel with an inward glow, when into the great, glad woods we go. O life-worn brothers, come with me into the woods' hushed sanctity, where the great, cool branches are heavy with June, and the voices of summer are strung in tune. Come with me, O heart outworn, O spirit whom life's brute struggles have torn. Come, tired and broken and wounded feet, where the walls are greening, the flowers are sweet, the roofs are breathing, and heaven's airs meet. Come, wash earth's grievings from out of the face, the tear and the sneer and the warfare's trace. Come where the bells of the forest are ringing, come where the oriole's nest is swinging, where the brooks are foaming in amber pools, the mornings are still, and the noonday cools. Cast off earth's sorrows, and know what I know, when into the glad, deep woods I go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. An August Reverie by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. An August Reverie. There is an autumn sense subdues the air, though it is August and the season still, a part of summer and the woodlands fair. I hear it in the humming of the mill. I feel it in the rustling of the trees that scarcely shiver in the passing breeze. 'Tis but a touch of winter ere his time, a presaging of sleep and icy death, when skies are rich and fields are in their prime, and heaven and earth commingle in a breath, when hazy airs are stirred with gossamer wings, and in shorn fields the shrill cicada sings. So comes the slow revolving of the year, the glory of nature ripening to decay, when in those paths by which, through love's austere, all men and beasts and blossoms find their way, by steady easings of the spirit's dream, from sunlight past the pallid starlight's beam. Nor should the spirit sorrow as it passes, declining slowly by the heights it came. We are but brothers to the birds and grasses, and our brief coming and our end the same. And though we glory godlike in our day, perchance some kindred law their lives obey. There are 1,000 beauties gathered round, the sounds of waters falling overnight, the morning scents that steamed from the fresh ground, the hair-like streaming of the morning light. Through early mist and dim, wet woods where brooks chatter, half seen, down under mossy nooks. The ragged daisy starring all the fields, the buttercup abrim with pallid gold, the thistle and burr flowers hedged with prickly shields, all common weeds the draggled pastures hold, with shrivelled pods and leaves, are kin to me, like heirs of earth in her maturity. They speak a silent speech that is their own, these wise and gentle teachers of the grass, and when their brief and common days are flown, a certain beauty from the year doth pass, a beauty of whose light no eye can tell, save that it went, and my heart knew it well. I may not know each plant, as some men know them, as children gather beasts and birds to tame, but I went mid them as the winds that blow them, from childhood's hour, and loved without a name. There is more of beauty in a field of weeds than in all blooms the hothouse garden breeds. For they are nature's children. In their faces I see that sweet obedience to the sky that marks these dwellers of the wilding places, who with the seasons being live and die, knowing no love but of the wind and sun, who still are nature's when their life is done. They are a part of all the haze-filled hours, the happy, happy world all drenched with light, the far-off chiming click-clack of the mowers, and yon blue hills whose mists elude my sight. And they to me will ever bring in dreams far, mist-clad heights and brimming rain-fed streams. In this dream August air, whose ripened leaf, pausing before it puts death's glories on, deepens its green, and the half-garnered sheaf gladdens the haze-filled sunlight, love hath gone beyond the material, trembling like a star, to those sure heights where all thought's glories are. And thought, that is the greatness of this earth, and man's most inmost being soars and soars beyond the eye's horizon's outmost girth, garners all beauty, on all mystery pours, like some ethereal fountain in its flow, finds heavens where the senses may not go. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In the Spring Fields by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Tavares. There dwells a spirit in the budding year, as motherhood doth beautify the face, that even lends these barren glebes a grace, and fills grey hours with beauty that were drear and bleak when the loud storming March was here, a glamour that the thrilled heart dimly traces in swelling boughs, and soft wet windy spaces, and sunlands where the chattering birds make cheer. I thread the uplands where the wind's footfalls stir leaves in gusty hollows, autumn's urns. Seaward the river's shining breast expands, high in the windy pines a lone crow calls, and far below some patient ploughman turns his great black furrow over steaming lands. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Dryad by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Chris Bars. The Dryad. Her soul was sown with the seed of the tree, of old when the earth was young, and glad with the light of its majesty. The light of her beautiful being upgrew, and the winds that swept over land and sea, and like a harper the great boughs strung, whispered her all things new. The tree reached forth to the sun and the wind, and towered to heaven above. But she was the soul that under its rind whispered its joy through the whole wood's span, sweet and glad, and tender and kind. For her love for the tree was a holier love than the love of woman for man. The seasons came, and the seasons went, and the woodland music rang, and under her wide, umbrageous tent, hidden forever from mortal eye, she sang earth's beauty and wonderment. But men never knew the spirit that sang this music too wondrous to die. Only nature, forever young, and her children forever true, knew the beauty of her who sung, and her tender, glad love for the tree, till on her music the wild hawk hung from his eyrie high in the blue to drink her melody free. And the creatures of earth would creep from their haunts to stare with their wilding eyes, to hearken those rhythms of earth's romance that never the ear of mortal hath heard, till the elfin squirrels would caper and dance, and the hedgehog's sleepy and shy surprise would grow to the thought of a bird, and the pale wood flowers from their cradles of dew, where they rocked them the whole night long, while the dark wheeled round, and the stars looked through into the great wood's slumberous breast, till the gray of the night like a mist outblew, hearkened the piercing joy of her song, that sank like a star in their rest. But all things come to an end at last, when the wings of being are furled, and there blew one night a maddening blast from those wastes where ships dismantle and drown, that ravaged the forest and thundered past, and in the wreck of that ruined world the Dryad's tree went down, when the pale stars dimmed their tapers of gold, and over the night's round rim the day rose sullen and ragged and cold. Over that wind-swept, desolate wild, where the huge trunks lay like giants of old, prone, slain on some battlefield, silent and grim. The wood creatures, curious, mild, searching their solitudes, found her there, like a snowdrift out in the morn, one lily arm round the beech trunk bare, one curved, cold, under her elfin head, with the beechen shine in her nut-brown hair, and the pallor of dawn on her face, love-lorn, beautiful, passionless, dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Penuel by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Elizabeth Parsons. In a place of the mountains of Edom, and a waste of the midnight shore, when the evil winds of the desolate hills beat with an iron roar, with the pitiless black of the desert behind, and the wrath of a brother before. In a place of the ancient mountains, and the time of the midnight dead, where the great wide skies of his father's land loomed vastly overhead, Jacob, the son of the Ancient of Days, stood out alone with his dread. And there in that place of darkness, when the murk of the night grew dim, under the wide roof-tree of the world, an unknown stood with him, whether a devil or angel of God, with presence hidden and grim, and spake, "Thou son of Isaac, on mountain and stream and tree, and this wide ruined world of night, take thy last look with me, for out of the darkness have I come, to die or conquer thee." Then Jacob made stern answer, "Until thy face I see, though I strive with life or wrestle with death, yet will I strive with thee, for better it were to die this hour, than from my fate to flee. Yea, speak thy name, or show thy face, else shall I conquer thy will." But the other closed with an iron shock, till it seemed the stars so still, with the lonely night in a wheeling mist went round by river and hill. And Jacob strove as the dying strive in the woe of that awful place. Yea, he fought with the desperate soul of one who fights in evil case. And he called aloud in the pause's dread, "O give me sight of thy face." Yea, speak thy name, what art thou, spirit or man or devil or God? Yea, speak thy name, but no voice came from heaven or deep or sod, and the spirit of Jacob clave to his flesh as the dews in a dried up clod. Then they rocked and swayed as autumn storms do rock the centuried trees. Yea, swayed and rocked, that others strove, and drave him to his knees. And Jacob felt the wide world's gleam, and the roar of the unknown seas. Like to a mighty storm it seemed, there thundered in his ears. Then a mighty rushing water teemed, like brooks of human tears, and opened the channels of his spent heart, and washed away his fears. And he rose with the last despairing strength of life's tenacity, and he swore by the blood of man in him and God's eternity, "'Tis my life, my very soul he wants, that he shall not have of me." Then his heart grew strong, and he felt the earth grow iron beneath his feet, and he drank the balmy airs of night like rose blooms rare and sweet, and his soul rose up as a welling brook, his life or death to meet. And he spake to that unknown enemy there, "By yon white stars I vow, that be thou devil or angel or man, thou canst not conquer me now, for I feel new lease of life and strength in this sweat that beads my brow." They locked once more, the stars, it seemed, went round in dances dim, where the great white watchers over each hill with the black night seemed to swim. But Jacob knew his enemy now could never more conquer him. Yea, still with grip of death they strove in iron might until, planet by planet, the great stars dropped down over the westward hill, and Jacob stood like one who stands in the strength of a mighty will. Then at that late last midnight hour, when the little birds rejoice, And out of the lands of sleep life looms, with the rustle of day's a noise. That other spake as one who speaks, with a sad, despairing voice, and cried aloud, I have met my fate, loosen and let me go, for I have striven with thee in vain, till my heart is water and woe. Nay, nay, cried Jacob, we strive, we twain, till the mists of dawning blow. Then spake that other, I hate thee not, my spirit is spent, alas. Thou art a very lion of men, release and let me pass, for thou hast my heart and sinews ground, as ocean grinds his grass. Then answered Jacob, Nay, nay, thou liar, this is the lock of death. For thee or me it must be thus, the will of my being saith. Thou man or devil, I hold thee here unto thy latest breath. For I do feel in thee I hold my life's supremest hour. I would as lief let all life slip as thee from out of my power, until I gaze on thy hid face and read my spirit's dower. Yea, show thy face, or who thou art, or man, or angel, or fiend. I rend thy being fold from fold, and scatter thee to the wind. Then they twain rocked as passions rock, when madness wrecks the mind. For each now knew this was the end, and one of them must die. Then Jacob heaved a mighty breath, with a last great sobbing cry, and gripped that other in a grip like the grip of those who die. For he felt once more his spirit faint, and his strong knees quake beneath, and it seemed the mountains flamed all red at the coming of his breath. And he prayed if he were conquered now, that this might be his death. The tight grip eased, the huge form slipped back earthward with a moan, and Jacob stood there 'neath the dawn like one new changed to stone. For in the face of the prone man there he read his very own. Not as man sees who reads his fellows in the dim crowds that pass, nor as a soul may know himself who looks within a glass, but as God sees who kneads the clay and parts it from the mass. And over his head the great day rose, and gloried leaf and wing, and the little boughs began to tremble, and the little birds to sing. But on his face there shone a strength like the power of a new-crowned king. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Afterglow by Campbell, read for LibriVox, read by Stacy Simon. After the clangor of battle, there comes a moment of rest, and the simple hopes and the simple joys and the simple thoughts are best. After the victor's pain, after the thunder of gun, there comes a lull that must come to all before the set of the sun. Then what is the happiest memory? Is it the foe's defeat? Is it the splendid praise of a world that thunders by at your feet? Nay, nay, to the life-worn spirit, the happiest thoughts are those that carry us back to the simple joys and the sweetness of life's repose. A simple love and a simple trust and a simple duty done are truer torches to light, to death, than a whole world's victories won. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Tree of Truth by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. The Tree of Truth. There grows a mighty century tree, its roots athwart the world, its branches wide as earth's wide girth, by thousand dews impearled. Its top is hoary, its wide boughs reach out to heaven above. Its roots are knowledge, and its sap the yearning heart of love. Men hack its branches, curb its roots, to trim it to their ken, or hide its green and poisonous vines from evil's grimmest fen. But evermore, while ages wane, and centuries rise and die, through dark, through light, through good and ill, its saps the years defy. For deeper in the heart of things, and older far than time, its roots are fixed in those sure deeps from which the centuries climb. Ages ago its girth was great, its boughs o'er earth's wide lands, all peoples gathered 'neath its glades, where now old ruin stands. But form and custom staled its green, and curbed it into bounds of pruning hooks and greedy walls that hemmed its sacred rounds. And vast and wide, where once to all its radiant leaves were free, far peoples paid with earth's red gold its sacred home to see. And summer by summer, yea, year by year, still lower shrank its head, till shallow deceit and life's despair declared its heart was dead. Then men cried, "We will hew it down, and build from out its wood a temple rare wherein to teach us memory of its good. And 'neath its shelter we will keep to hold the age's youth those holy dreams our fathers drew from out the tree of truth." They hacked and hewed, they sawed and planed, they lopped its branches wide, till shorn and bare the old tree stood to every wind and tide. And round its scathed and ruined trunk, whence life has fled aloof, they built a temple carved and arched from floor to groined roof, and reared a shrine where art was all the end of human pain, till a sprout shot forth from the old tree's trunk and burst its walls amain. A sturdy, wayward, wilding growth, that mocked their maimed dream of life and truth and legend carved on groined arch and beam. Men stood amazed. The teachers cried, "Behold the curse of earth! Its life must die, or all our words are but as nothing worth." "Nay, nay," cried others, "but let it stand, perchance a miracle." Then straight about its burgeoning boughs old bloody battles fell. Wild clamor and clash of fiery arms, the old against the new, mad host arrayed with banner and blade, where war's wild trumpets blew. But as they strove by gates of blood, with glad unconscious youth, higher and wider skyward climbed the newer tree of truth. And blithe within its boughs their nests the birds of heaven made, while at its foot, mid earth's old ruins, the happy children played. And form and cant were swept away, while under its dream sublime men drank anew 'neath heaven's arch from nature for a time. Yea, still it spreads its antlers vast through peace and clash of arms, and blossoms brave and blithe and free o'er all earth's shrunk alarms. And still men battle to destroy the living for the dead, old ruined trunk of that which towers its glories overhead, and strive for art's distorted ways, while from earth's heart of youth, higher and wider heavenward spreads the ancient tree of truth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Glory of the Dying Day by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.com by Stacy Trottier on July 22, 2017 in Solana Beach, California. O glory of the dying day that into darkness fades away, O violet splendor melting down by river bend o'er tower and town, O glory of the dying day that into darkness fades away, O splendor of the gates of night, O majesty of dying light, that all a molten glory glows, till purple crimson fades to rose, and dying, melting, outward goes, in ashes on the even's rim, when all the world grows faint and dim. O silvern sound of far-off bells, ringing, ringing, miles away, over river, fields, and fells, round the crimson and the gray, pealing softly evening out, as the dewy dusk comes down, and the great night folds about, river, woodlands, hills, and town. O glory of the fading hills, splendor of the river's breast, O silence that the whole world fills, sanctity of peaceful rest. Alien from the care of day, now a petaled star peeps in, now night's choruses begin, musical and far away. O glory of the dying day, when my life's evening fades away, may it in splendid peace go down, like yours o'er river bend and town, not into silence blind and stark, not into wintry muffled dark, but heralded by stars divine, may my life's latest evening ray melt into such a night as thine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
September in the Laurentian Hills by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Tavarish. Already winter, in his sombre round, before his time hath touched these hills austere with lonely flame. Last night without a sound the ghostly frost walked out by wood and mere. And now the sumac curls his frond of fire, the aspen tree reluctant drops his gold, and down the gullies the north's wild vibrant lyre rouses the bitter armies of the cold. O'er this short afternoon the night draws down with ominous chill across these regions bleak. Wind-bitten gold, the sunset fades around the purple loneliness of crag and peak, leaving the world an iron house wherein no love, no life, no hope hath ever been. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lazarus by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. O Father Abram, I can never rest here in thy bosom in the whitest heaven, where love blooms on through days without an even, for up through all the paradises seven there comes a cry from some fierce anguished breast, a cry that comes from out of hell's dark night, a piercing cry of one in agony, that reaches me here in heaven white and high, a call of anguish that doth never die, like dream-waked infant wailing for the light. O Father Abram, heaven is love and peace, and God is good, eternity is rest. Sweet would it be to lie upon thy breast, and know no thought but loving to be blest, save for that cry that nevermore will cease. It comes to me above the angel lyres, the chanting praises of the cherubim. It comes between my upward gaze and him, all blessed Christ, a voice from the vague din, O Lazarus, come and ease me of these fires. O Lazarus, I have called thee all these years. It is so long for me to reach to thee, across the ages of this mighty sea, that loometh dark, dense, like eternity, which I have bridged by anguished prayers and tears, which I have bridged by knowledge of God's love, that even penetrates this anguished glare, a gleaming ray, a tremulous star-built stair, a road by which love-hungered souls may fare past hate and doubt to heaven and God above. So calleth it ever upward unto me. It creepeth in through heaven's golden doors. It echoes all along the sapphire floors like smoke of sacrifice. It soars and soars, it fills the vastness of eternity, until my sense of love is waned and dimmed. The music round its spheres do clash and jar. No more those spirit calls from star to star, those harmonies that float and melt afar, those belts of light by which all heaven is rimmed. No more I hear the beat of heavenly wings, the seraph chanting in my rest-tuned ear. I only know a cry, a prayer, a tear, that rises from the depths up to me here, a soul that to me suppliant leans and clings. O Father Abram, thou must bid me go into the spaces of the deep abyss, where far from us and our God-given bliss do dwell those souls that have done Christ amiss. For through my rest I hear that upward woe. I hear it crying through the heavenly night, when curved, hung in space, the million moons lean planetward, and infinite space attunes itself to silence. As from drear grey dunes a cry is heard along the shuddering light of wild dusk bird, a sad, heart-curdling cry, so comes to me that call from out hell's coasts. I see an infinite shore with gaping ghosts. This is no heaven with all its shining hosts. This is no heaven until that hell doth die. So spake the soul of Lazarus, and from thence, like new-fledged bird from its sun-jewelled nest, drunk with the music of the young year's quest, he sank out into heaven's gloried breast, spaceward turned, toward darkness dim, immense. Hellward he moved, like a radiant star shot out from heaven's blue, with rain of gold at even. When Orion's train and that mysterious seven move on in mystic range from heaven to heaven, hellward he sank, followed by radiant rout. The liquid floor of heaven bore him up with unseen arms, as in his feathery flight he floated down toward the infinite night. And each way downward, on the left and right, he saw each moon of heaven like a cup of liquid misty fire that shone afar from sentinel towers of heaven's battlements, but onward, winged by love's desire intense, and sank, space swallowed, into the immense, while with him ever widened heaven's bar. 'Tis ages, now long gone, since he went out, Christ urged, love driven across the jasper walls, but hellward still he ever floats and falls, and ever nearer come those anguished calls, and far behind he hears a glorious shout. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Mother by Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org. It was April, blossoming spring. They buried me when the birds did sing. Earth, in clammy wedging earth, did bank my bed with a black damp earth. Under the damp and under the mould I kenned my breasts were clammy and cold. Out from red beams, slanting and bright, I kenned my cheeks were sunken and white. I was a dream, and the world was a dream, and yet I kenned all things that seem. I was a dream, and the world was a dream, but you cannot bury a red sunbeam. For though in the undergrave's doom night I lay all silent and stark and white, yet over my head I seemed to know the murmurous moods of the wind and snow, the snows that wasted, the wind that blew, the rays that slanted, the clouds that drew, the water ghosts up from lakes below, and the little flower souls in the earth that grow. Under earth, in the grey stark night, I felt the star and the moon's pale light. I felt the winds of ocean and land that whispers, the blossoms soft and bland. Though they had buried me dark and low, my soul with the seasons seemed to grow. From throes of pain they buried me low, from death had finished a mother's woe. But under the sod, in the grave's dread doom, I dreamed of my baby in glimmer and gloom. I dreamed of my baby, and I kenned that his rest was broken in wailing on my dead breast. I dreamed that a rose-leaf hand did cling. Oh, you cannot bury a mother in spring. When the winds are soft and the blossoms are red, She could not sleep in her cold earth bed. I dreamed of my baby for a day and a night, and then I rose in my grave clothes white. I rose like a flower from my damp earth bed to the world of sorrowing overhead. Men would have called me a thing of harm, but dreams of my baby made me rosy and warm. I felt my breast swell under my shroud. No star shone white, no winds were loud, but I stole me past the graveyard wall, where the voice of my baby seemed to call. And I can me a voice, though my lips were dumb. Hush, baby, hush, for mother is come. I passed the streets to my husband's home, the chamber stairs in a dream I clomb. I heard the sound of each sleeper's breath, light waves that break on the shores of death. I listened a space at my chamber door, then stole like a moon ray over its floor. My baby was asleep on a stranger arms. Oh baby, my baby, the grave is so warm, though dark and so deep, for mother is there. Oh, come with me from the pain and care. Oh, come with me from the anguish of earth, where the bed is banked with the blossoming girth, where the pillow is soft and the rest is long, and mother will croon you a slumber song that will charm your eyes to a sleep that never in earth's song lies. The loves of earth your being can spare, but never the grave, for mother is there. I nestled him soft to my throbbing breast, and I stole me back to my long, long rest. And there I lie with him under the star, dead to earth, its peace and its wars, dead to its hates, its hopes, its arms, so long as he cradled up soft in my arms. And heavens may open its shimmering doors, and saints make music on pearly floors, and hell may yawn to its infinite sea, but they never can take my baby from me. For so much a part of my soul he hath grown, that God doth know of it high on his throne. And here I lie with him under the flowers, the sun winds rock through the billowy hours, with the night airs that steal from the murmuring sea, bringing sweet peace to my baby and me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Dusk by W. Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org. Read by B.G. Gruff on July 11th, 2017. Down by the shore at the even, when the waves lap lightly on their reedy rims, and soft, one trembling star, a blossom, flames aloft, where the sunk sun the western haven laves, with the lowest tide of day, the tired world craves for the great night that cometh brooding in, with draught of healing over earth's far din, and blessed rest that recreates and saves. Far in the breathing woods, the whip-poor-will reiterates his plaintive note, and hark! A dusky nighthawk whirls athwart the dark, haunting the shadows, till in silver swoon, haunted by her own spirit, strange and still, over the water comes the wan, white moon. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Last Prayer by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Marcel D. Ward, thesoulexpands.com. Master of life, the day is done. My sun of life is sinking low. I watch the hours slip one by one, and hark the night wind and the snow. And must thou shut the morning out, and dim the eye that loved to see? Silence the melody en route, and seal the joys of earth for me? And must thou banish all the hope, the large horizon's eagle swim, the splendor of the far-off slope that ran about the world's great rim, that rose with morning's crimson rays, and grew to noonday's gloried dome, melting to even's purple haze, when all the hopes of earth went home? Yea, master of this ruined house, the mortgage closed outruns the lease, long since is hushed the gay carouse, and now the window lights must cease. The doors all barred, the shutters up, dismantled, empty, wall and floor. And now for one grim eve to sup, with death the bailiff at the door. Yea, I will take the gloomward road, where fast the Arctic nights set in, to reach the bourne of that abode which thou hast kept for all my kin, and all life's splendid joys forego, walled in with night and senseless stone, if at the last my heart might know, through all the dark, one joy alone. Yea, thou mayst quench the latest spark of life's weird day's expectancy, roll down the thunders of the dark, and close the light of life for me. Melt all the splendid blue above, and let these magic wonders die, if thou wilt only leave me love, and love's heart brother memory. Though all the hopes of every race crumbled in one red crucible, and melted mingled into space, yet, Master, thou wert merciful. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Pan the Fallen by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Nemo. Pan the Fallen. He wandered into the market with pipes and goatish hoof. He wandered in a grotesque shape, and no one stood aloof. For the children crowded around him, the wives and greybeards too, to crack their jokes and have their mirth, and see what Pan would do. The Pan he was, they knew him, part man, but mostly beast, who drank and lied, and snatched what bones men threw him from their feast, who seemed in sin so merry, so careless in his woe, that men despise, scarce pitied him, and still would have it so. He swelled his pipes and thrilled them, and drew the silent tear. He made the gravest clack with mirth by his sardonic leer. He blew his pipes full sweetly at their amused demands, and caught the scornful earth-flung pence that fell from careless hands. He saw the mob's derision, and took it kindly too, and when an epithet was flung, a coarser back he threw. But under all the masking of a brute unseemly part, I looked and saw a wounded soul, and a godlike breaking heart. And back of the elfin music, the burlesque clownish play, I knew a wail that the weird pipes made, a look that was far away, a gaze into some far heaven, whence a soul had fallen down. But the mob only saw the grotesque beast in the antics of the clown. For scant flung pence he paid them with mirth and elfin play, till, tired for a time of his antics queer, they passed and went their way. Then there in the empty market he ate his scanty crust, and, tired face turned to heaven, down he laid him in the dust. And over his wild strange features a softer light there fell, and on his worn earth-driven heart a peace ineffable. And the moon rose over the market, but Pan the beast was dead, while Pan the god lay silent there with his strange distorted head. And the people, when they found him, stood still with awesome fear. No more they saw the beast's rude hoof, the furtive clownish leer, But the lightest spirit in that throng went silent from the place, for they knew the look of a god released that shone from his dead face. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Vengeance of Saki by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Marcel D. Ward, thesoulexpands.com. When the moon is red in the heaven, and under the night is heard on the winds the thunder of shadowy horses, then out of the night I arise, and again am a woman, and leap to the back of an ebon steed that knows me, and hound him on in the wake of hoofs that thunder, of smoky nostrils and gleaming eyes, and foam-flecked flanks that glow and flash in the flow of the moonlight, while under the murk and the moon, out into the blackness, round the world's edge with an eerie, mad, echoing laughter, leaps the long cry of the hate of the wild snake woman. Ha ha! It is joy for the hearts that we crush as we thunder. Ho ho! For the hate of the winds that laugh to my laughter. Ha ha! It is well for the shriekings that pass into silence, as under the night, out into the blackness forever, rise the wild hate of Saki, the mad snake woman. I was a girl of the South, with eyes as tender and dreamy and soft and true as the skies of my people. But I was a slave and an alien captured in battle and brought to the North by a people ruder and stronger, who held me as naught but a toy to be played with and broken, then thrown aside like a bow that is snapped asunder. Lithe and supple my limbs as the sinuous serpent, and quick as the eye and the tongue of the serpent mine anger, that flashed out the fire of my hate on the scorn of my scorners. But hate soon softened to love, as fire into sunlight, when my eyes met the eyes of the chieftain, my lord, and my master. Sweet as the flowers that bloom on the blossoming prairie, gladder than voices of fountains that dance in the sunlight, were the new and tremulous fancies that dwelt in my bosom. For he was my king and my son, and the power of his glance to me as at springtime the returning sun to the landscape, and his touch and the sound of his voice that set my heart throbbing. Sweet were the days of the summer I dwelt in his tent, and glad and loving the nights that I lay on his bosom. But woe, 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 to the summer that fades into autumn. And woe upon woe is the love that dwindles and dies, and ere my hot heart was abrim with its summer of loving, I knew that its autumn had come, that his love was another's, a blue-eyed, haughty captive they brought from the east, her hair like moving sunlight that rippled and ran with the golden flow of a brook from her brow to her girdle. He saw her, he looked on her face, and I was forgotten. Yea, I and the love that fed on my soul in its anguish. Ha ha! It is joy for the hearts that we crush as we thunder. Ho ho! For the hate of the winds that laugh to my laughter. Ha ha! It is well for the shriekings that pass into silence, as under the night, out into the darkness forever, rise the wild hate of Saki, the mad snake woman. I bowed my head with its woe to him in my anguish. I veiled my face in my hair like the night of my sorrow, and I pled with him there by the love that was true and forgiving. Oh, my lord and my love, by the days that are past of our loving. Oh, slay thy poor Psyche, but send her not forth in her anguish. And I fell to the earth with my face like the moon hid in heaven in the folds of my hair. But he sate there and uttered no answer. And the white woman sate there and scorned at the woe of my sorrow. Then I bit my tongue through that had prayed for the pity ungiven. And I rose with my hate in my eyes like the lightning in heaven that leaps red to kill with a hiss like the snake that they called me. And I looked on them there and I cursed them, the man and the woman. The man whose lips had kissed my love into being, and the woman whose beauty had withered that love into ashes, with curses so dread and so deep that he rose up and smote me, and hounded me forth like a dog to die in the desert. Ha ha! It is joy for the hearts that we crush as we thunder. Ho ho! For the hate of the winds that laugh to my laughter. Aha! It is well for the shriekings that pass into silence, as under the night, out into the blackness forever, rise the wild hate of Psyche, the mad snake woman. Then wandered I forth, an outcast, hounded and beaten, careless whither I went, or living, or dying, with that load of despair at my heartstrings wearing to madness. Long and loud I laughed at the heaven that mocked me, with its beautiful sounds and its sights and the joy of its being. For I longed but to die and to go to that region of darkness where I might shroud me and curse in my madness forever. Far, oh far I fled till my feet were wounded and bruised and cut by the ways unkindly and cruel. Then all the world grew red in the sun as a furnace, and I raved till I knew no more for a horrible season. Then I arose and stood like one in a dream, who after long years of forgetting sudden remembers the dread wild cry of a wrong that clamors for righting. Then, sending a curse to the heart of the night sky, I turned me and fled like the wind of the winter, the sound of whose footstep is vengeance. Late when the moon had lowered, I entered his village, and threading the silent streets, came to the well-known tent door, and dragging aside the skins with serpentine motion, entered now as a thief where once I had entered as a mistress. And there in the gleam of the moon, with the flame of her hair on his bosom, lay the woman I hated like hell, with the man I loved clasped to her heart. Ha ha! It is joy for the hearts that we crush as we thunder. Ho ho! For the hate of the winds that laugh to my laughter. Ha ha! It is well for the shriekings that pass into silence, as under the night, out into the blackness forever, rise the wild hate of Psyche, the mad snake woman. If hate could have slain, they'd have shriveled up there in the moonlight. But theirs was a sin too deep for the kiss of a knife blade. Long did I stand like a poisoned wind in a desert, gray and sad and despairing, and nursing my hate, when out of the night, like one voice that calls to another, came the far-off neigh of a horse, and a mad joy leaped to my veins, and a thought curled into my heart, as a serpent coils into a flower. And I turned me, and left them there in their foolish love and their slumber, that my hot heart hissed was their last. Then hurrying out of the door that flapped in the night wind, I fled with the pent-up hunger of hate that maddened to burst from its sluices, and came to a place on the plain far up and out from the village, where tethered in rows of hurdles, champing and restless and neighing, 1,000 horses were herded under the night. Ha ha! I live it anew. I dream it again in my madness. I see that moving ocean of shimmering flanks in the moonlight. I snatch a brand from a watchfire that smolders and dwindles. I creep around to the side of the herd, remote from the village. I cry a low call that is answered by a neigh and a whinny. Then I leap to the back of an ebon stallion that knows me. 'Tis but the cut of a thong, a cry in the night, a fiery waving brand, like lightning to thunder. A terrified moaning and neighing, a heaving of necks and of haunches, a bound, a rush, a crack of a thong, then a whirlwind of hoofs. Like a sweep of a wave on a beach, we are thundering onwards, neck and neck in the wake of my hate, that ever before us clamors from heaven to hell in its terrible vengeance. With neck outstretched and mad eyes agleam in the moonlight, I see on ahead the sleeping huts in the moonlight. Ha ha! They will rest well under the sleep that we bring them. See, see, we are nearing them now. The first wild thundering hoofbeats have ridden them down mid the shriekings and groanings of anguish, blotting them out with their loves and their hates into blackness. Ha ha! Ride! Ride, my beauties, my terrible tramplers. Pound! Pound into dust the mother, the child, and the husband. Pound! Pound to the pulse of my hate that exults in your thunders. Ha! Over the little ones nestled to suckle the bosom. Over the man that I loved, we thunder, we thunder. Over the woman I hate, with the flame of her hair on his bosom, trampling, treading them down out into silence and blackness. Like the swirl of a merciless storm, we sweep on to darkness forever. And now, when the moon is in heaven and under the night, is heard on the winds the thunder of shadowy horses, then out of the dark I rise and again am a woman, and leap to the back of an ebon steed that knows me, and hound him on in the wake of hoofs that thunder, while under the murk and the moon out into the blackness, round the world's edge with an eerie, mad, echoing laughter leaps the long cry of the hate of the wild snake woman. Ha ha! It is joy for the hearts that we crush as we thunder. Ho ho! For the hate of the winds that laugh to my laughter. Ha ha! It is well for the shriekings that pass into silence, as under the night, out into the blackness forever, rides the wild hate of Saki, the mad snake woman. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Tavarish. Love came at dawn when all the world was fair, when crimson glories, bloom, and song were rife. Love came at dawn when hope's wings fanned the air, and murmured, I am life. Love came at even when the day was done, when heart and brain were tired and slumber pressed. Love came at eve, shut out the sinking sun, and whispered, I am rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Victoria by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Emma Charlotte. Jubilee Ode, A.D. 1897. With thunder of cannon and far-off roll of drum, and martial music blaring forth her glory, 'Mid miles of thronging millions down each street, where all the earth is bound in one heart-beat, the world's great empire's greatest queen doth come, borne on one mighty, rocking earthquake voice, wherein all peoples of wide earth rejoice. She comes to beat of martial drums, and pageants blazoning England's ancient story, the good grey queen, whose majesty and worth have lent their radiance to remotest earth, while the splendour and might and power of her mighty empire bound her, and the serried millions, mad with joy, are near her, all to love her, none to fear her, but nearer far than power, than splendour, dearer, the surging love of her loved people round her. She comes, encircled by her people, while praise to heaven peals out from tower and steeple, into the great cathedral, hushed and dim, with thankful heart and humble queenly head, over the sleep of England's mighty dead, to render up her heart's best thoughts to him. The King of Kings, mid hush of priestly tread, and gloried anthems solemn pealing him, the mighty millions awed now bow the head, thank heaven for her simple noble life, earth's queenliest empress, mother, daughter, wife. Thank heaven for all she held her dearest own, forgiveness for the weakness she hath known, blessings on her wise old widowed head, for what her life is now, and what her life hath been, noble mother, wife, and queen. Let the mighty organs roll, and the mighty throng disperse. She is ours, and we are hers, and both are Britain's. Both to Britain's God lift up the heartfelt praise for the might of splendid days, for the glory that hath been. Let the cannon thunder out, and the miles of voices shout, Victoria! Let the bells peal out afar, till the rocket tells the star, and the ocean shouts its paean to the thunder answering bar. England's glory, Britain's pride, revered of half the world beside, O good grey Queen Victoria! Daughter of monarchs, mother of kings, all her sorrows we have shared, all her triumphs they are ours. Kind Heaven, that virtue still endowers, be with her, may her path be flowers, be with her, may her days be spared, death aloof with shadowing wings, unto nature's latest hours. Daughter of monarchs, mother of kings, O good grey Queen Victoria! Let all feuds of faction die, let the blaring party bugles cease to blow, let insincere and base detraction lie, with sore defeat and bitterness, her carping, sisters, lo! In this one supremest hour, day of Britain's ancient power, day of all her golden dower, of victory towering centuries, tower on tower, let all our hatreds be forgot, all bitterness be swept away, remembering only the glory of our lot, in this century honouring day. Celt and Scot and Saxon, let us only know A mighty queen comes to her own at last, her people's love and reverence, as the glow of some splendid western heaven, deepening into richer even, ere it purples to the vast. Past the mailed gates of fears, the hooded menace of the years, where rang the iron voices rolling on her ears, of royal dreams the requiem and pall, and awful fates of thrones foredoomed to fall. Our aged queen, on this glad day she stands, amid the throbbings of her land's great love, firm in her rule, her faith in God above, earth's golden keys of happiness in her hands. O splendid life of Britain's splendid days! O noble soul, above all blame or praise! O fame that will outlast our little fame! O long enduring honour greater than time or death! O name that will outlive even that immortal name, England's most ancient glory, the great Elizabeth! And we, thy loyal subjects far away, in these new lands that own thy sceptre's sway, betwixt thy royal isle and far Cathay, across the thunder of the western foam, O good grey Queen, our hearts go home to thee and thine. We are thine own while empires rise and wane, we are thine own for blessing or for bane. And come the shock of thundering war again, for death or victory, not that we hate our brothers to the south, they are our fellows in the speech of mouth, they are our wedded kindred, our own blood, the same world evils we and they withstood, our aims are theirs, one common future good. Not that we hate them, but that there doth lie within our hearts a golden fealty to Britain, 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 till the world doth die. And him we send thee as our greatest son, the people's choice, to whose firm hand is given the welfare of our country under heaven. No truer son hast thou in all thy coasts, no wiser, kindlier, stronger, Britain boasts. Our knightly leader, Norman in his blood, but truest Briton in heart and speech and mind, beloved well of all his fellow kind. In statesmanship our nation's highest mood, our silver-tongued and golden-hearted one, in every inch and every thought a man, our noblest type, ideal Canadian. Receive him mid those greatest thou dost own, thy mighty empire builders, bastioning round thy throne. O England's latest, greatest Queen, greatness more great than all her greatness that have been. Under thy sceptre the outmost continents hang, and trackless oceans thunder out their surges. These are thy realms, never in earth's old story hath queen of earthly realm owned such resplendent glory. Not golden Homer such wondrous kingdoms sang, round earth's wide girdle thy mighty empire verges, outsplendoring all prophecy of olden days, thou, latest and greatest on that throne whose base withstood the shock of centuries, still withstands the lowering hate of Europe's iron bands. In thy true keeping shall that sceptre be, a golden wand of happiness to the free, who call thee queen from outmost sea to sea, that throne to them a mighty lighthouse tower, a truth-compelling majesty of light, blinding the mists of ignorance and night, where round its base, throughout the centuries' flight, thunder in vain earth's hosts upon its iron power. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
England by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Tavarish. England, 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 girdled by ocean and skies, and the power of a world, and the heart of a race, and a hope that never dies. England, 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 wherever a true heart beats, wherever the rivers of commerce flow, wherever the bugles of conquest blow, wherever the glories of liberty grow, 'tis the name that the world repeats. And ye who dwell in the shadow of the centuries' sculptured piles, where sleep our century-honored dead, while the great world thunders overhead, and far out, miles on miles, beyond the smoke of the mighty town, the blue Thames dimples and smiles. Not yours alone the glory of old, of the splendid 1,000 years, of Britain's might and Britain's right, and the brunt of British spears. Not yours alone, for the great world round, ready to dare and do, Scot and Celt and Norman and the Dane, with the Northman's sinew and heart and brain, and the Northman's courage for blessing or bane, are England's heroes too. North and South and East and West, wherever their triumphs be, their glory goes home to the ocean-girt isle, where the heather blooms and the roses smile, with the green isle under her lee. And if ever the smoke of an alien gun should threaten her iron repose, shoulder to shoulder against the world, face to face with her foes, Scot and Celt and Saxon are one where the glory of England goes. And we of the newer and vaster West, where the great war banners are furled, and commerce hurries her teeming hosts, and the cannon are silent along our coasts, Saxon and Gaul, Canadian, claim a part in the glory and pride and aim of the empire that girdles the world. England, 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 wherever the daring heart by Arctic flow or torrid strand thy heroes play their part, for as long as conquest holds the earth or commerce sweeps the sea, by Orient jungle or Western plain will the Saxon spirit be. And whatever the people that dwell beneath, or whatever the alien tongue, over the freedom and peace of the world is the flag of England flung, till the last great freedom is found, and the last great truth be taught, till the last great deed be done, and the last great battle is fought, till the last great fighter is slain in the last great fight, and the war-wolf is dead in his den. England, breeder of hope, and valor, and might, iron mother of men. Yea, England, 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 till honor and valor are dead, till the world's great cannons rust, till the world's great hopes are dust, till faith and freedom be fled, till wisdom and justice have passed to sleep with those who sleep in the many-chambered vast, till glory and knowledge are charnelled dust in dust. To all that is best in the world's unrest, in heart and mind you are wed, while out from the Indian jungle to the far Canadian snows, over the east and over the west, over the worst and over the best, the flag of the world to its winds unfurled, the blood-red ensign blows. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sebastian Cabot by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Marcel D. Ward. Thursday, August 10th, 2017. My website is thesoulexpands.com. 1. New startled from her sensual dreams, Europa half expectant lay, revolving dimly broken gleams of some far-off unrisen day, as one sees through dim mists of night, some far, majestic, moon-paved mountain way, on grim and barbarous couch reclined, groped blindly toward her ultimate goal, when she through midnight of the mind would wake to knowledge of her soul. So with oppressions all divine, she left her bestial gods behind, and turned her toward the western stars, when this old rugged, princely tar of tars beat bravely out, where heaving leagues on leagues billowed the western brine. 2. Greater than power or splendor, or birth, or might of gold, is the noble life of a noble man, of a heart both brave and bold. All honor to the spirit that knows not earth's defeat, that meets with courage true and strong what brave souls have to meet, and honor to the hero, who centuries ago sailed out from old Bristol into the trackless waters of the West, who bravely beat and beat where sky and waters meet, till he saw his white cliffs vanish under ocean's heaving breast, nor cowardly turned him back, but held straight on his track, though old ocean rose up, ravening in gray and angry wrack, and bravely beat and bore up to the west. All honor to his spirit, for the glories we inherit, in peace of mighty slumber, breathe calmly round his rest, where his earthy bed about his pillowed head forever beats old ocean's monotone, for even from a child he loved its voices wild, its splendid throb that made his heart its own. 3. I dream his name, and there doth come to me a vision of league-long breakers landward hurled, of olden ships far beating out to sea, of splendid shining wastes of heaving green far stretching round the world, of many voices heard from many lands, torrid and arctic, orient and the line, of heaving of vast anchors, vanishing strands, and over all the wonder and thunder and wash of the loud, world-conquering brine, of sky-rim waste, or fog and shrouded reef, where some mad siren ever sings the grief of all the mighty wrecks in that weird span since ocean and time began. 4. Venice in England, cradled. Could this seaman be other than ocean's child? With heart less restless than that vast and wild great heart of the thrilling sea? Wakened to her long thunders, cradled in her soft voice, could other voice of all earth's voices sweet make his stern heart rejoice? Yea, this was better than all, greater than all to him, truer than youth's mad whim, the only love of his youth, the only lore of his age, to gaze on her vast tumultuous scroll, to pore on her wrinkled page, for he was very soul of her soul, and she meet mother for him. 5. Over the hazy distance beyond the sunset's rim, forever and forever, those voices called to him. Westward, westward, westward. The sea sang in his head, at morn in the busy harbor, at nightfall on his bed. Westward, westward, westward. Over the line of breakers, out of the distance dim, forever the foam white fingers beckoning him. 6. This was no common spirit. This sailor of old Bristow, not one of the mart-made helots, such as the world doth know, but a bronzed and rugged veteran, adrift in the vanguard's flow, a son of the world's great highway where the mighty storm winds blow. 7. All honor to this grand old pilot, whose flag is struck, whose sails are furled, whose ship is beached, whose voyage ended, who sleeps somewhere inside unknown, without a slab, without a stone, in that great island, sea empearled. Yea, reverence with honor blended, for this old seaman of the past, who braved the leagues of ocean hurled, who out of danger knowledge rended, and built the bastion sure and fast of that great bridgeway grand and vast, of golden commerce around the world. All honor, yea, a day shall come, if glory lives in human rhyme, when our poor faltering lips are dumb, a greater and more splendid time, when larger men of mightier aim shall do meet honor to his name. Yea, honor only greatness keeps in sanctuary where this seaman sleeps. This old Venetian, Briton born, who held of fear a hero's scorn, who nailed his colors to the mast, who sought in reverence for the true and found it in the rifting blue of those broad furrows of the vast, who knew no honors, held no state, but in his ruggedness was great, who like some sea shell in him felt the universe of ocean dwelt, whose whole true being nature cast like his own ocean spaces vast. 8. Yea, he is dead, this mighty seaman, 4 long centuries ago, beating westward, ever westward. Beating out from old Bristow saw he far in visions lifted, down the golden sunset's glow, through the bars of twilight rifted, all the glories that we know, beating westward, ever westward, over heaving leagues of brine, buffeted by arctic scurries, languid trade winds from the line, with a courage heaven gifted and a fortitude divine. Yea, he is dead, but who shall say that all the splendid deeds he wrought, that all the lofty truths he taught, if truth be knowledge nobly sought, are dead and vanished quite away? Nay, nay, he lives, and such as he, in every lofty human dream, in every true sublimity, that splendors earth and makes it teem with inward might and majesty. This grand old pilot of Bristow, incarnate, comes to earth again, as when, 400 years ago, he swept in storm and shine and snow, athwart the thunders of the main. 9. Greater far than shaft or storied fame, than bronze and marble blent, greater than all the honors he could gain from a nation's high intent. He sleeps alone in his great isle, unknown, with the chalk cliffs all around him for his mighty graveyard stone, and the league-long sounding roar of old ocean forevermore, beating, beating about his rest, for fane and monument. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The World Mother by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Marcel D. Ward, thesoulexpands.com. By crag and lonely moor She stands, this mother of half a world's great men, and kens them far by sea-wracked lands or orient jungle or western fen, and far out mid the mad turmoil, or where the desert places keep their lonely hush, her children toil, or wrapped in wide world honor sleep. By Egypt's sands or western wave she kens her latest heroes rest, with Scotland's honor o'er each grave, and Britain's flag above each breast. And some at home, her mother love, keeps crooning wind songs o'er their graves, where Arthur's castle looms above, or Strathy storms, or Solway raves, or Lomond unto Nevis bends, in olden love of clouds and dew, where Trosac unto Stirling sends greetings that build the years anew. Out where her miles of heather sweep her dust of legend in his breast, 'neath aged Dryburgh's aisle and keep, her wizard Walter takes his rest. And her loved ploughman, he of air, more loved than any singer loved by a heart of man amid those rare high souls the world hath tried and proved, whose songs are first to heart and tongue, wherever Scotsmen greet together, and far out alien scenes among go mad at the glint of a sprig of heather. And he, her latest wayward child, her Lewis of the magic pen, who sleeps by tropic crater piled, far, far, alas, from mystic glen, who loved her, knew her, drew her so, beyond all common poet's whim. In dreams the wops are calling low, in sooth her heart is woe for him. And they, her warriors, greater none, e'er drew the blade of daring forth, her Colin under Indian sun, her Donald of the fighting North, or he, her greatest hero, he, who sleeps somewhere by Nilus' sands, grave Gordon, mightiest of those free, great captains of her fighting bands. Yea, these and myriads more, who stormed the fort or plowed the main, to free the wave or win the shore, she calls in vain, she calls in vain. Brave sons of her, far severed wide, by purpling peak or reeling foam, from western ridge or orient side, she calls them home, she calls them home. And far from east to western sea the answering word comes back to her. Our hands were slack, our hopes were free, we answered to the blood astir. The life by Kelpie Loch was dull, the homeward slothful work was done, we followed where the world was full, to dree the weird our fates had spun. We built the brig, we reared the town, we spanned the earth with lightning gleam. We plowed, we fought, mid smile and frown, where all the world's four corners teem. But under all the surge of life, the mad race fight for mastery. Though foremost in the surge and strife, our hearts went back to thee. For the Scotsman's speech is wise and slow, and the Scotsman's thought it is hard to ken. But through all the yearnings of men that go, his heart is the heart of the northern glen. His song is the song of the windy moor, and the humming pipes of the squirreling den. And his love is the love of the shieling door, and the smell of the smoking peat within. And know hap how much the alien blood is crossed with the strain that holds him fast, mid the world's great ill and the world's great good, he yearns to the mother of men at last. For there is something strong and something true in the wind where the sprig of heather is blown, and something great in the blood so blue that makes him stand like a man alone. Yea, give him the road and loose him free. He sets his teeth to the fiercest blast, for there is never a toil in a far country, but a Scotsman tackles it hard and fast. He builds their commerce, he sings their songs, he weaves their creeds with an iron twist, and making of laws or righting of wrongs, he grinds it all as a Scotsman's grist. Yea, There by crag and moor she stands, this mother of half a world's great men, and out of the heart of her haunted land she calls her children home again. And over the glens and the wild sea floors she peers so still as she counts her cost. With the wops low calling over the moors, woe, woe, for the great ones she hath lost. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Lazarus of Empire by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Emma Charlotte. The Celt he is proud in his protest, the Scot he is calm in his place, for each has a word in the ruling and doom of the empire that honours his race. And the Englishman, dogged and grim, looks the world in the face as he goes, and he holds a proud lip, for he sails his own ship, and he cares not for rivals nor foes. But lowest and last, with his areas vast, and horizons so servile and tame, sits the poor beggar colonial who feeds on the crumbs of her fame. He knows no place in her councils, he holds no part in the word that girdles the world with its thunders, when the fiat of Britain is heard. He beats no drums to her battles, he gives no triumphs her name, but lowest and last, with his areas vast, he feeds on the crumbs of her fame. How long, oh how long, the dishonour, the servile and suppliant place? Are we Britons who batten upon her, or degenerate sons of the race? It is souls that make nations, not numbers, as our forefathers proved in the past. Let us take up the burden of empire, or nail our own flag to the mast. Does she care for us, value us, want us? Or are we but pawns in the game, where lowest and last, with our areas vast, we feed on the crumbs of her fame? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Holyrood by William Wilfred Campbell, read for LibriVox.org by Lady K, July 21st, 2017, Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. 1897. I stand in Edinburgh, in Holyrood, where Scotland's Mary flaunted, Iron Knox came, with cavernous eyes and words of prophet flame, and broke her soul as bonds of brittle wood, and all stern Scotland's evil and her good, her austere ghosts, her souls of fiery shame, her adamantine passions none could tame, arise anew and drip in Rizzio's blood. Here in these walls, these guilty corridors, beside that bed where Elizabeth's eyes look down across the centuries with their fading band of angry years of Presbyterian frown, I only know these tears of weird remorse. The woman rules, all else is shifting sand. Footnote for beside that bed. In Queen Mary's bedroom in Holyrood, a portrait of Queen Elizabeth hangs on the wall above the bed. Footnote for these tears. It is said that Knox, during this memorable interview, made the Queen weep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.